Video games and those who play them often get a bad reputation. But games can have many health benefits, such as improving your cognitive abilities and supporting your mental well-being. Video games also teach us how to find solutions to problems and overcome challenges by interacting with the learning centers of our brains. This is particularly true of puzzle-solving games, and an exceptionally good example is Superliminal from Pillow Castle Games. It received high praise when it was released back in 2019, and it even won several awards for its unique puzzle mechanics. It may seem unlikely that a simple video game can have a profound impact on how we view the world, but it's something that Superliminal manages to accomplish. Its narrative explores the psychology behind negative emotions, as well as how we can overcome them by solving one problem or one seemingly impossible puzzle at a time. So let's take a look at how exactly Superliminal manages to change your view on life, but beware of spoilers for the game from here on out. The definition of the word superliminal is being above and beyond the threshold of consciousness. This concept is explored in the game through dream therapy, and you start the game by falling asleep while an advertisement for the experimental treatment is shown on a TV. This opening cutscene is designed to place you directly into the game rather than as a character, by subconsciously making the player respond with yes to the questions it asks.
Are you filled with feelings of self-doubt? Do you find yourself prone to minimizing massive dilemmas, or for allowing the smallest problems to get blown completely out of proportion?
You then spend the rest of Superliminal trying to wake up from a lucid dream, and the game uses this dream state to manipulate your reality and expectations. This is set out from the start after you briefly look away and a doorway appears out of nowhere. The first level will also be familiar to players of other puzzle-solving games, with its test chamber feel and robotic AI voice that narrates your progress.
Please note that I am the standard orientation protocol, and that my voice has been explicitly chosen to remind you that I am not a part of your patient care team. I do not care.
However, the level immediately following this is set in a warm and fancy hotel, which breaks the expectation of being just another clinical chamber-style game. You are also introduced to your dream therapist, who has a friendly and calming voice, which contrasts with the robotic voice from before.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to talk to you about being special. So special, in fact, that we have no idea where you are.
At the start of each level, you are also returned to a bedroom suite, with the expectation being that you have successfully woken up. It's only after you walk around the corner that you realise you are still asleep and have become trapped in multiple dreams. You are offered frequent assurances that the situation is under control, but the attempts at humour are often more disconcerting and don't exactly reassure you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'm just popping in to give you a quick update on where you are. We still don't know, but please keep moving forward, and hopefully you prefer frequent updates to being reminded that you are completely lost.
The result is that while you play Superliminal, you get the sense that things aren't always as they seem, and you learn to not make assumptions about what to expect, as you can never be sure what will be presented to you next. Liminal space is an ambiguous transitional place between having left somewhere but not yet reached a destination. It's a place that serves a purpose but is often associated with being disoriented, and it can be discomforting. To consider an example, a hallway exists to get from one place to another, but it's not a place you go just to be there, and a hallway that leads to nowhere would be out of place. This notion is explored with optical illusions that create the basis for the surreal gameplay and physics-bending puzzles that are in Superliminal. The core gameplay mechanic uses forced perspective illusions, based on the principle that the further away an object is, the smaller it will appear. You solve each of the puzzles in the game by resizing objects which scale based on the player's perception of said object. This mechanic may sound complicated, but it's intuitive and makes for highly satisfying results. It works by tracking the size and distance of the objects picked up relative to the player's view, and then determines the distance to the farthest point in front of the player to scale the object. So an item will become larger if you pick it up and then look at something that is further away, and likewise an item will become smaller by looking at something that is closer. Several new features that complement this mechanic are also introduced as you progress in the game to keep the gameplay interesting. For example, object cloning causes an item to instead form different sized duplicates of itself when attempting to pick it up. Later in the game, doorways that act as portals are also introduced, and resizing these to walk through them allows the player to change their own relative size in the world. The game also implements projection illusions where 2D images resemble 3D objects, and they can even become one when viewed from the correct angle. Lining these up in a particular way can even reveal hidden objects and exits that you will need to find in order to complete the level. The opposite can also occur where 3D objects get flattened into 2D images painted onto the walls, floors and ceilings of the level. There are even moments where entire sections of the world suddenly become 2D projections in the blink of an eye. These illusions and the constantly shifting world of Superliminal intentionally make you feel disoriented at every step of the journey. But the outcome is that you can look back and gain a retrospective on just how far you have come since you started the game. One of the strengths of Superliminal is making the player feel as though they have done something truly incredible. For instance, the most unforgettable moment of the game is when you need to pull down the moon from the night sky through an open window. The game also tries to get into the mind of the player by using various mechanics you've learnt against you. You might see a partially complete object projected onto a wall and start to line it up as you have done previously, only for you to fall off a ledge. Or the time you increase the size of a staircase to reach an above doorway, only for the weight of the larger object to make the floor give way, causing you to fall below. In fact, each level of Superliminal has a different theme based on psychology to make the player experience different emotions. One example of this is the level titled Cubism, which takes place just after you have mastered the game's puzzle mechanics. However, attempting to pick up an item here instead makes it do weird and abstract things, such as unexpectedly falling apart into several pieces or pulling other surfaces along with it. Another standout level in the game is Blackout, which is mostly set in the dark except for some flickering lights to invoke emotions of anxiety and fear. It also has many horror-themed set pieces, from oddly stacked crates of diet soda, to worrying menu items, and a knife that just disappears. It also seems to give the illusion that a serial killer is on the loose, with what appear to be bloodstains and handprints throughout the level. However, once you turn the power to the lights back on, it's revealed that the negative thoughts you experienced were all just in your head. The level Labyrinth emulates having a mental breakdown and is designed to be chaotic for the player. You often find yourself walking on the walls and ceilings as gravity flips, and even the slightest interaction with objects causes a significant amount of destruction to the level. The puzzles in this section of the game are also easier to solve, so that you are constantly moving at a frantic fast pace, while everything is seemingly going wrong around you. The benefit of these psychological themes is that they make you look at negative emotions for what they simply are, while explaining how they can be overcome by viewing challenges from new and different perspectives. Although Superliminal may not be a self-help game, it will change the way you think about negative emotions and how you approach problems in life. The artistic and surreal world, along with the incredible puzzles you solved in it, will likely have a lasting impression long after you complete the game. In the end, Superliminal might just change your view on life.